just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Eddie Mackin's Riff and Lips Fishing Trips, Expeditions Fly Fishing LLC, NJFishing.com. Also, all of our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, Signal 11, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, FC Fish Company, Toggy Time Jigs, and the Gambler Sports Fishing.
Fishermen, gotta hate these guys too. These guys who fly fish seemingly for the only reason of just to like ride their high horse around, right? It's almost like they're not fly fishing to enjoy themselves or because they want to like do it to be effective, and they just do it because they want to think they're better than everyone else.
Yellow Dog Paddle, Mike Herman, ton of new stuff up on their website, yellowdogpaddle.com. Has a frequent flyer program now. That'll give you the opportunity to do like 3 to 5 trips during the whole year at all different times. Great for retirees. He's also teaching fishing lessons. If you want to buy your own boat and get it set up like his, he'll go into a more in-depth lesson on what's going on the boat and talk lessons. And still, your traditional Yellow Dog Paddle trolling trip is firing off already this month on Round Valley Reservoir. So call Yellow Dog Paddle and book your 2025 trip. Hello and welcome to episode number 96 of the NJ Multispecies Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
Here I am again for a second time.
Second take. Just came back from the long weekend. Tonight's guest is Joey X, Expeditions Fly Fishing from the Catskills. We're going to switch beats a little bit and get back to some freshwater talk on trout. So he'll be in here in a few minutes. Recapping the weekend, I went to the Saltwater Expo on Friday with Jerry Zagorski from NJFishing.com. I met him there, walked around, saw a ton of people. Again, this is so hard because you try to name everyone, but I saw the Gambler, I saw Nor'easter, I saw the tackle box. I bought my lures from the tackle box that I used in the video. Trying to think what else I bought. Nor'easter. I saw Crazy Alberto Nye finally. He agreed to do an episode on his terms. He's made that very clear.
So basically, we're going to have to record an episode like live with like virtual equipment out in the surf, like swimming with a van stall out to like an island somewhere.
Yeah, he made it like a thing that he would do it, but on his terms. But yeah, that'd be cool. We want to talk to him. Nick Konachevsky, I just missed him. He stepped away from his booth, so I didn't get to see him. But yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of people there. I walked around with Jen, and it was mobbed. I have to say that, too. It was really mobbed. It was packed.
That was Saturday?
No, it was Friday. I went on a weekday, and I was trying to talk to Susie from the Gambler, and like you couldn't even stop in the aisle to talk because you would get just pushed by people. And then pal Marius Rods, they had messaged us on Facebook to come see them at the show, and I swung by their booth, and they gave us a beautiful, like medium light inshore fishing rod to give away on the Gambler. And I started looking through his stand. He has like a million different nice rods, and he kind of was like, "Take the one you want to give away." And I'm looking at them all. I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like I don't know, man.
Oh, he gave you a choice?
he gave me a choice. So I was just, what rod would be best for sea bass? It's a sea bass trip. So he gave me like a rod for that. Really nice stuff. So thank you to them, Palmarius Rods. But yeah, other than that, yeah, saltwater show is awesome. After the saltwater show, I fished the river for striped bass. We did decent, didn't do amazing, didn't do bad. But like Max isn't going to say it was on fire because he only got like one fish towards the end. So it really wasn't that good, but good enough to like keep us entertained.
So that was the only fish he caught was that one in the picture. It was smaller than a hybrid striped bass.
Yeah, that was it. That was like at the end too. It wasn't good. You know, as with most shit, everyone you see the pictures and say, "Oh God, that looks," you know, it wasn't that easy to do, and it was over a long period of time. It doesn't look as good as it was in the pictures.
Well, it's going to depend on the day, so it's always better the day before you went and then the day after.
Oh yeah, basically.
But
we were chasing a report, and we didn't get anywhere near where the report numbers were. But
well, I mean, we're talking schoolie striped bass or resident striped bass or whatever probably a mix of both, whatever. I don't know. For me, yeah, it's cool. It's one of those fisheries where if it's really tough fishing, I don't know. It's not something that appeals to me unless like if I want to put in all that effort to go fishing for something, I want to go after the big ones, right? Like if you want to put in all that effort to go striped bass fishing, you'd probably rather, go out in the ocean to try to do like the Chuck Manny thing. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of fish.
I did realize there is a skillful angler, like freshwater category at 40 inches. So that kind of grabbed my attention a little bit. Because it gave me a shot at getting that, which does count as like a different species if you could get it. We didn't come anywhere near that though. I think it has to be 40 inches. Our biggest one was 31. And then the rest of them weren't even near that size. But I think that was the biggest fish I've ever caught to the closest of my house. If that's like any record anyone tracks, that was the biggest fish I've ever caught the closest to my home.
Yeah, nobody's tracking that. Nobody cares. But
no one cares. Okay, so Lake Hopatcong, crappie fishing?
Oh, yeah, I got my boat out. I wanted to run the motor. So I went on Hopatcong. Dwayne joined me. It was same as you. It was a tough bite. I mean, it was one of those days where, you could have done better with live bait, but we didn't have it. There's a couple guys using live bait. I'd say they're probably catching, I don't know, 3 to every one of our 2, maybe. It wasn't like night and day, but it was one of those days where we're trying a couple different. What?
Shiners or fatheads?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever they were using. I mean, small shiners, fatheads. I don't think there would have been a big difference, but yeah, having the live bait would have made a difference that day, and I've seen it before. But we had fun. What
was the water level like?
It's still down a little bit over there. Nothing crazy. I mean, I think 2 feet down, maybe still. From the drawdown, but the launches are all the spring. What?
The launches are all open and like Lee's is open. Everything's ready.
I don't know about that. I actually don't think it is.
Oh, really? Shit.
No, I don't know. I have a smaller boat. I can put it in elsewhere, but yeah. I mean, we had a good time. You caught some, that spring panfish bite. Got to run the motor and everything, and caught a decent amount of fish. It was just slow. You had to work for them. So.
Yeah,
every day is going to be different. You get a nice sunny, warm day. I bet you they go ballistic. They're there. They're in their spots. They're ready to go.
I'm planning to try that this week. So if I get time, I'm going to run my motor up to some of the crappie spots there, and yeah, we'll see. How that bite starts the season off on the open water. Deuce, it looks like Joey X is ready to come in. Are we cutting or are we bringing him right in? We're going to cut. Okay, we're cutting.
I could do these, by the way, if you give me the info. It doesn't matter to me.
I just make all this up anyway. It's all just made up stuff. Ready?
She counted down already.
Oh. Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips fishing trips. The ice is off Lake Hopatcong. Chris was just there with his boat. Eddie Mackin is ready to take the lake back. He's out of the woods. Hunting season is over, so legally he's being forced out of the woods. He has no choice. But Mackin's Rippin' Lips fishing trips back in business. Already pan fishing. Pan fishing is hot on the lake. You could book your trips with Eddie Mackin today. You're guaranteed to fish with Eddie only. Also, doing the red eye trips, again, if you're fishing by yourself or have no one else to go on a fishing trip with, he'll match you up with someone else available on the same availability, and you'll go fishing and hopefully make a new friend. And the pontoon boats for rent again. So Mackin's Rippin' Lips fishing trips, serving all your Lake Hopatcong needs this summer. Okay, so our guest is ready to come in. We have Joey X, who actually his name isn't Joey X, extra long name, but his name really is too long to say. Joey X from Expeditions Fly Fishing, our newest sponsor up to date. Joey, welcome to the NJ Multispecies Podcast.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me again.
What's up, Joe?
Again, has he been here before?
Well, you guys did that little brief. Yeah, you guys did that little brief intro.
Stop by.
This is his episode.
This is his first full episode. If you want to try to regain your composure.
Yeah,
Joe, we're gonna get right into it. The past few weeks, we've been talking a lot about ice fishing and then a lot of blackfish. We're gonna talk back to trout, back to fly fishing, especially you now. The thing that's so interesting about you is, and I tell this to a lot of people, you're a guide. You mainly do the Catskill region. Catskill region is considered one of the best fly fishing areas for trout in the country, especially when it comes to dry fly hatches. People in New Jersey don't realize how close this is. If I GPS map this, the Flatbrook is probably about 25 minutes closer to me than this world-class fishing. How do you feel that this fishery is kind of like underlooked by Jersey people?
It's tough because Jersey has a good fishery because of the stocking program, and people feel like trout is just a species that, it's kind of different because the fish that are out in the Catskills, especially the west and the main stem, they're wild trout, so they give you a different type of challenge. So for me, I can see why it's overlooked because you can catch that species right here in New Jersey, but the water is totally different, and I mean, like, scenic wise and also challenge wise to catch this fish, because I feel like we kind of New Jersey and New York kind of has similar hatches, meaning the different bugs that do come off the water. They have very similar hatches. The waters in Jersey are very healthy, so they do offer the same variety of insects that the Catskills do. So, yeah, I mean, if it's close to home, rather than driving 2.5 hours out to the Catskills, then I can see why it's overlooked. But ever since I found the Catskills, I kind of avoided Jersey because I feel like Jersey is very pressurized now, especially like the Kenlockwood Gorge area. It gets really a lot of pressure, and it puts the fish down pretty well. So, I mean, it does become challenging, but that's because the fish are just put down.
And I got to add this to it as well. So now, I'm not as big of a fly fisherman as Joe is, and obviously nowhere near what you are. We're doing it all these years. You've been doing it 20 years, you said.
Yep.
I dabble in it, right? So it's a novelty to me. I do it for fun when I feel like it. But so I just wanted to add this. I'm fishing in New Jersey in a lot of these small streams that we have. A lot of them are partially stocked, if not stocked through the whole stretch, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Even the wild fish that you run into, I mean, they came from a stocked breed. How long ago, who knows? It could have been one's offspring, 2 generations, whatever it is. But my point is, when I'm fishing in these New Jersey places, I want to say 90% of the time, I wouldn't choose to fly fish if I want to be as effective and efficient as possible. When I go to these places like the Catskills, I've gone a couple of times, I would choose fly fishing more so to be effective and efficient. It's just a completely different fishery, like you were alluding to. And
those are
just
real trout. Those are real trout.
Well, you got to understand that they're not native to New York either. They were implanted, you know what I'm saying? So You can't say they're like wild natives, but they are wild. And, there's wild fish in Jersey too. But I don't think they can survive the way that they can survive in the Catskills because that water stays colder longer. I feel like if you fish out in the Muskie over, I think, Point Mountain, like that water is spring fed, so that water stays a little cooler. But like during the summer years, these fish got to find place to, hide for a bit during the summer. And they do that on the beaver kill too. There's a stretch on the beaver kill that's a no fish for certain months because that's where all the fish go because it's the coolest part of the river. And that's how they survive. So like I feel like in New Jersey, that's why the stocking program is really important to have that sustainability, to have that fishery. But out in the Catskills, these fish stay around and get bigger for a reason because that water they can survive in.
And I noticed if you compare the 2 stocking programs, New Jersey restocks these rivers every week as compared to New York that does like 1 stocking or maybe 2, and that's it. They just dump them all at once.
Yep.
Which I know that makes a difference in how the fishing's kind of going to go and the spread of the fish.
Yeah. The other thing is a lot of people like to keep trout in Jersey, and I feel like it's less done up in the Catskills. Not that it's not it's frowned upon, but like you're allowed to keep, I think, 1 per day. But like I feel like a lot of people do it more here in Jersey. So like when you do that, you kind of take the fish out of the water. So that stocking program replenishes it. While over there, you don't have that opportunity. You take out these fish, then they aren't going to get replenished every week like they do in Jersey. So.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this. So, what would you say to someone, right, who likes to fly? And I got to make this distinguished. So, the fly guys in Jersey, there's a small fraction of these guys, right? And I don't know. You tell me. I feel like real fly fishermen gotta hate these guys too. These guys who fly fish seemingly for the only reason of just to like ride their high horse around, right? It's almost like they're not fly fishing to enjoy themselves or because they want to like do it to be effective and they just do it because they want to think they're better than everyone else. And to me, it's just like this blemish on the whole fly fishing world. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a fly fisherman to the caliber of you guys. I just dabble in it, but it's like it's this turnoff, right? So I guess my question would be, right, what would you say to someone who likes to fly fish in New Jersey for the real reasons, like they just enjoy fly fishing?
Mm-hmm.
The difference in the experience that they're going to have in New Jersey, where if you ask me, I can use a jig or a jerk bait and outfish a guy fly fishing in New Jersey, but I can't do that in some of these places like the Catskills. So like, what would you say to them? Because they may not realize this. they're fly fishing here, they may catch a couple of small wild fish and think, hey, I'm fly fishing, I'm catching fish. It's all good. When they don't know that a fishery like this in the Catskills where they can really fly fish. Like, what would you say to them?
Listen, I started out in Jersey too. So like one of the biggest things about Jersey was it was fun for a bit, and the spin fishing was where I started out with, so I just feel like maturing into something that challenged me a little bit more was why I went to fly fishing. But the guys who are the purists, who was like, think that I wouldn't say it's more effective all the time, because we got brown trout. Brown trout are very predatory, right? So when you throw out those jigs or you throw out those rapalas, they have a reactive bite. So they react to, and they slam those baits, right? So it's not frowned upon that much in the Catskills, because I see spin fishing all the time there, So like, I don't know why people think it's such a. I can see out west, but I don't know how people could feel that way here. And I feel like, as a fly fisher myself, like I think people should just go out there and have fun and enjoy whatever brings to you. But whatever anybody else is doing shouldn't be in my business. I'm not gonna be pissed off because there's a spin fisherman next to me while I'm fly fishing. It's not how I am. But I don't know why these guys feel that way. Some people are like that, dry or die, like I said before.
Listen, I love fly fishing, but I hate streamers. Like hate streamers. I don't think streamers are fly fishing. If you're using streamers, I don't think you're fly fit. Like, fly fishermen are just weirdos. Like, that's weird to me to be that way.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is. Like, I'll have other people, because I like nymphing, and I'm going to have a lot of other fly fishermen tell me nymphing is not fly fishing.
Yeah. But there's 3 stages of a fly, which is, the nymph stage, the emerger stage, and the mayfly dun stage. So like, if you don't see fish rising, they're taking some subsurface, or they're just pecking at not breaking the water. Or when they're going after emergers, that's when you see the water really go crazy. Like, they're trying to chase that emerger so fast that they're coming out of that water really fast. So like, you got to think about the stages of how they feed. So that's why fly fishing is effective, because you can go nymphing, you can go with emergers, and you can go dry fly, right? With spin fishing, you're always subsurface, and you're hoping that they're gonna hit that rapala or that rooster tail, So like, you have more options. So that's where streamer fishing got picked up, because instead of us using a rapala, we slap on a streamer, and it happens because the reservoir that's above the West Branch, they have this, what they call the alewife hatch, which is when that reservoir overflows and all this fish, all the alewives come into the river, and they actually spill out to the, like, you'll see it. They're like out on the side of the banks, and they're just dead fish everywhere. That's when you should be using the streamer. So yes, instead of us picking up a spin fish and put a rapala on, we'll put a streamer on. So like,
and these fish, when that happens, I'm assuming just like when a specific bug is hatching, they can really just 100% key in onto that
absolutely
very specific food source, and you could be drifting the fly that just hatched a couple of days ago, and you won't get touched.
Yeah, when they're locked in, they're locked in for sure.
We have something similar that happens in a lot of places here in New Jersey when you're fishing, and we call it the pellet hatch.
Absolutely.
If you're fishing anywhere downstream of any of the clubs,
oh yeah,
sometimes, dude, you just get all of a sudden hundreds of trout just appear out of nowhere, start hitting the surface, and you can't catch them on anything that doesn't look like a feeder pellet from these the feeder machines. I've been invited to one of those clubs before. I'm not gonna say which one, but
I was fishing it, and we were doing so well. They had so much. They had that not even half a mile stretch was just infested with trout, and it was nice to catch trout like every cast. But like once that feeder came on, like you said, it was like Vietnam next to like the feeder, like pop 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 pop. I'm like, well, what do we do? Like, oh, just wait for the feeder to be done, and then go back to your fishing. I'm like,
you didn't have any pellet flies?
No.
You think I'm fucking joking, but
no,
I'm not.
I know, but you could just use a brown mop fly.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works.
Yeah,
I could definitely tell you from my experience in the Catskills, you have to be a lot closer with the fly. Like if you're in Jersey and a light Cahill hatch turns on, like you could basically have anything yellow on, a sole or whatever, it'll work.
Yep.
But in New York, Catskills especially, if you're
size
not
matter
ballpark, you ain't getting it because they are like,
and
I see them nose right up to it and just turn around.
I've seen so many refusals, and that's why I carry different sizes of each pattern.
A refusal? It's just a rejection where they come nose it, swim away.
Yep, a refusal, and I got 3 different sizes of each pattern. So for that reason, because I start with the 14, depending on which hatch it is, like March Brown. But with sulfurs, I've even gotten down to like a size 20. So like,
wow,
I can't see that thing. But like, sometimes they're that picky, and you have to have the different colors, not even that, like different patterns, and also like you got to have like the parachute that sits a little bit lower. The Catskill style sits a little bit higher, and you got to have spinners, which is pretty much when their dying phase. Pretty much they go up, they mate, and they turn into a spinner, and they just sometimes that's what they're eating. So you got to figure out what it is, because even though the hatch is happening, they're probably just eating the easy food, which is the spinners.
And you're just talking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Joe knows, but I don't know what that is. That just the fly that kind of spins in the water, like it turns?
No, it's the phase. It's pretty much when it dies, and it's what they call a spinner. But
so it just floats like a dead bug floating?
Exactly, and it's easy pickings. And you got to determine when that's the right time, because sometimes they're still going up top for the done, and you're throwing a spinner. And you're like, why is it not happening? But they're still eating the done phase. So it's like, what do? You just got to keep tying on and off. But some people get lazy.
I just wanted to clarify, because anyone listening to this that doesn't fly fish that much going to start picturing you throwing an inline spinner or something. But no, that's real interesting that you said that and that kind of goes back to my point about how like fly fishing is more times than not, versus here in New Jersey, the better option to target these fish. And I've had arguments with people trying to tell them, like, the hatches we have in New Jersey just aren't the same as the hatches up there. Yeah, the species are the same, like you said before.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to be, and this is just kind of a theory and someone might know, but you're talking about how keyed in they are on even just the size of that specific fly. It has to be something with the number and like the success rate of these specific hatches at any given time, versus in New Jersey. I don't know. When I see a hatch, a lot of the times I'm looking at like 3 or 4 different bugs at the same time. Yeah. And just, I don't know, the hatches just aren't the same here. And most of the time I could still trick those fish with some kind of lure, like a floating rapala just sitting there. Sometimes you get a little one or a little jig or something under a float or something even. But up there, the couple times I've gone, it just doesn't work like that. Like, you're better off fly fishing. It's just a different world.
Yeah,
I think that's because they've been in the water longer, because of the way they stock, how they just do that.
I'm sure that adds to it too. But I mean, I think there's something about these hatches where like the hatches up there are just,
they're educated up there.
Basically.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying stock trout, but like I think if you keep a stock trout in the water long enough, that he'll become educated, learn his food source, and then he'll hone in and figure out where the hatches are for him, and you can tell, because I've caught plenty of trout on the same kind of patterns that I use up in the Catskills in New Jersey. So
the only thing what you're saying is when it actually becomes a trout, the fly rod's better, and when it's a bathtub fish, the spinning rod's better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, I agree with that.
I can fool them. I can fool them a lot easier down here in Jersey. But same thing. Like in the Catskills, it's presentation too, right? Like sometimes you got to use a lighter tippet, meaning so it's, if anybody doesn't know what tippet is, it's an extension to your leader, and it's a smaller diameter. And sometimes we got to go from what they call, so the average size you use up there is 5X, and it goes down to a 6X. I wouldn't use anything less than a 6X. It's just crazy unless you.
I got a question already for this.
Well, you gotta fight the fish a little bit longer if you use anything less than a 6X, and that's not what you want to do with these kind of fish up there. You want to just put them in as fast as possible and let them go fast as possible. But like, you gotta learn how long you need to make that tippet. Sometimes you can't get too close to this fish because, especially with the boat, they feel the pressure coming wherever I'm rowing. And I feel sometimes with the clients I've had, you got to know their skill set. And sometimes they can't make that cast, but I can't get closer to that fish. If I get pushed any closer to that fish, he's feels that boat pressure, and he'll never come back up unless we sit there for a while and let him recover and then come back. But it's tough up there sometimes, and you get humbled. I've been humbled.
Oh, my brother's the perfect example because like he's always fly fished New Jersey. That with me, like I kind of taught him to fly fish, but he's only fished New Jersey, and I've taken him up there, and he gets his ass kicked. Like it's so hilarious. He gets so mad. But the other thing I have to say about the place is the scenery, especially, and I'm kind of like, I guess I'm impartial to the beaver kill, but like. There's parts of that river that you're just looking around and you can't believe like where you are because the scenery it's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And I'm not bashing Jersey or saying Jersey doesn't have some unbelievable scenic places, but when it comes to these like fly fishing rivers, just some of these, the shit in the Catskills, it looks like you're looking in a book. Like it's just amazing. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Especially the main stem. It looks like exactly that background picture you guys have up here.
That's the main stem. River. I took that picture.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
it is amazing. But just for the people watching, real quick, you want to explain a drift boat because that's a tool you have that it's not that common around here at all, and it's a super huge advantage. It's a major advantage when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I got a 15-foot Stealthcraft Aftermath. It's more of a Midwest boat, but I like it because it's a little bit more of a tank. You know, a lot of people who are up there, they either have like a clacker, which is like a 16-foot. The other thing I bought, the reason why I got a 15-foot boat is that I don't have to register in New York, so I'm cheap. So clacker doesn't make a 15-foot, and the 16-foot you have to. And a lot of guys are out there, but you'll see a couple stealth crafts out there. The reason why I fly fish, I used to be a wade fisherman for such a long time up there, and finding public access is like, it's really tough, you know, because once you go there, you're gonna see a lot of guys, you know. And
is it worse than here?
Public access, yeah, because you know with fly fishing, you gotta give the guy space. You don't want a low hole, what they call a low hole, and it's like you know what they do up in the Salmon River. That's just like if anybody's been up to the Salmon River, it's knuckle to knuckle, elbow to elbow. But that's just a thing. Everybody's just okay with it. But up in the Catskills, low hole, and it's like give this guy at least 50 yards of space so he can fish up and down that stretch, you know, unless you guys are all together. You know, if I go as a group, like 4 people, I'll take that whole space and we'll be closer to each other. But when you're out there, you want to give that guy the space. So like when you go up to public access, you want to give people space, and you see about maybe 7 people, then you're not going to fit in there. You know, you're not going to be in the zone for the fish. So you got to go down to the next access point. And really, there's somewhere like on a beaver kill. I know it's called, I think, the painted hole. So you park off the side of the road, and there's a bridge, and then you walk down, and then you get there, and you see guys there. Now you got to walk your ass all the way back up because you can't fish there. So it's kind of disappointing, and like you have to walk down there to see if there's even anybody in there. So yeah, it's tough.
Are you allowed to put a drift boat in the beaver kill?
No, not the beaver kill, not the willow. It's only on the West Branch, some of the East Branch. East Branch is a little bit different. I don't fish it as much as I should because it all depends on water level. The flow has to be heavy enough for me to put up on the Upper East. A lot of it's very private. You can't anchor down. A lot of people don't understand this, but part of the East Branch, people never sold their underwater rights to the state, but the West Branch does. The people who have property on West Branch have sold their properties, the underwater rights to the state. I have to do my research, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But you can wade there. You get out of your boat and you can wade on the West Branch. You can't do that in certain parts of the East Branch because it is considered private property. You're allowed to float through, but you can't anchor or wade in some parts. So I haven't done it a lot. So that's another thing. With the drift boat, you get to go to these access points that you can't get when you're just wade fishing. So like,
yeah,
right.
You get a lot of in-betweens. So
and you don't have to walk.
Exactly. You don't have to walk. You can sit, you get anchor for a bit and wait for the hatch to happen. If you know it's happening on the upper part of the stretch, and then you can fish on your way down. So like you just got to know what's happening at that time of year and what time of day and where the hatch is happening. Because sometimes the hatch happens earlier down the river than it does above in the upper part. So you just got to know when it's happening with the boat. You can time it out better. You're not just wasting a whole day in one section. You can like start off. That the hatch is going to happen at the bottom of the stretch. So you're kind of messing around up the top a little bit, trying to pick as many as you want, and you know what time to get down to the part of the stretch that you want to get to. Then you can time it to where you get down there on your boat. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's that advantage is very helpful for the whole day of fishing.
Well, and it's going to be hard for someone just let me go up there and jump in the river and fish because I know how to fly fish. I'll just go up there and do it. It's going to be hard for them to predict when and where those hatches are going to happen. You're out there almost every day, right? So, I mean, it's still fishing, but you're cutting out a lot of that guesswork where.
Yeah. That's where a journal comes in handy. And sometimes it's not the same every year, but it's very close to it. Like one hatch that Jersey doesn't have that the Catskills has is the March. Well, no, I wouldn't say March Brown. There could be a possibility of March Browns happening here, but green drakes, and I always miss it. And you always think it's gonna be.
They're huge,
huge, and
they're humongous.
And I always seem to find like the wrong time to go, and I always like, I'm gonna get it this year because I know what happened last year. I go, and at the same time, it's like they're not there. And that's what happens.
I can't believe you're bringing this up because I've been missing this for 25 years. I've been trying to get this, and I haven't.
You got to be there every single day,
It's a size 8 for anyone who's listening. It does know it's a Catskill size 8 green drake hatch, and they're humongous. If you get to be there for that,
it's quick, and it's a quick catch
for like 3 days a year that I'm not available usually.
But you're in New Jersey. You got the size 8, size J8 Rapala hatch.
I got the size 8 pellet fly for Jersey.
Yeah.
You also you offer 2 different type of trips because I could book a drift boat trip on the West Branch, or I could do a wading trip on the Will Weemac or the Beaver Kill.
Correct. Yep, and East Branch,
which I'd like to do. I know you're running a special $50 off. If that applies for me and Chris, we'll use that.
Absolutely.
I want to go.
There's a lot of water covered.
Yeah, dude, I'd love to go.
I like the Beaver Kill. I just love that river. I would love to go there with Joey. That'd be so cool. But I'd love to go on the drift boat too because I'm lazy as hell.
And it's fun, you know. You can got a drift boat, and you don't have to worry about hopping in your car every single time to move to a different spot.
You know what? Actually, I could tell you, I've done it. I mean, I've probably done it on the Salmon River like 20 times. I've never once done it for trout, ever.
But here's the thing about the Salmon River, right? Yeah.
But
the thing about Salmon River, I'd rather wade fish in the Salmon River for steelhead during the winter months, because you can actually take a break and go have lunch or warm up in your car for a bit and then go back out. When you're on a drift boat in the middle of winter in Salmon River, that's like hardcore, because there's no heaters, there's nothing. You're stuck on that boat until the trip is done. You know, but you get you know, more looks at fish because you cover more water. But I'd rather just wait it out. There's no way in hell you're gonna pop me on a drift boat on a Salmon River.
We like to suffer. I mean, yeah.
Obviously that's the whole thing, right? Suffer for the fish.
And I know we had a guy. I don't remember who the guest was. We had a guest on. I told him a story about me. I was on the beaver kill fishing. The fish would not hit anything unless I dropped to 7x. And as soon as the fish hits it and you set the hook, it just snaps instantly. I don't even know why they make this.
Make it 7x. Yeah. Well, for wild, like mini, like brook trouts, that's effective. You fish in small creeks, the breaking power is not gonna be as strong because you're fishing little creek brookies, you know. So they go down that low, but you're catching.
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, could you? And I'm just asking because I'm not sure. Like, in that situation, could you maybe keep the heavier tippet, right, but switch over to like a streamer fly and try to trigger them to bite or something? Would that maybe work?
Well, sometimes I used to use like a straight 12 or straight 10 for streamer. I don't do anything crazy with that. With streamer fishing, they're not gonna be leader shot no matter what. So like with streamer fishing,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying if you get into a situation like where Joe said where he couldn't get hit drifting these flies unless he dropped to a 7.
Yeah.
Would it be worth trying to go back up in size of the leader and try to trigger a bite, or if they're keyed into this fly, you're just screwed? Yeah,
exactly. If you're using like let's say a 4X because you want to go heavier, but you're fly fishing, you're using a size 20 fly, it's not going to work. I mean, you can, it just depending what you want to do. So like the reason why you want to use like fluorocarbon or mono floats better. So I like to use mono for dry flies, you know. But then let's say now you're trying to nymph and you're trying to get that fly down quick. You want a smaller diameter. You want to use a fluoro. Now, if you want to go higher, then you're trying to tie this fly that's smaller, and you're trying to get that fly down quick. Going heavier on the diameter is not going to help you. It's not going to cut the water. So yes and no, depending on what you want to do. So let's say you want to go for streamer fishing, just cut the whole damn thing off and use a straight 12. You know.
I mean, could I bring an ultralight in my back pocket with like a jerkbait just in case?
Tell us that. I always
not on my boat.
I always stop at the. I would always stop at the local fly shop and say, "Hey, what is currently hatching?" And you know, they always know. And give me a few of those in every size, because I drove 2 hours to get here. You know, I want something that's gonna work. And when you're out there and you start seeing these fish boil all over the place, and like one of those flies lands on you, and you know right away you have nothing. Anything like that, you're fucked. You're just fucked. There's nothing.
Well, you got to see my fly box. I got like 16 fly boxes. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be prepared.
He's got all the flies.
Yeah, he thinks so, but trust me, he doesn't.
No, I don't. I'm still learning this, and there's always somebody creating some new pattern. And
I think it was Lee Wolf was one, like, because I was always like a fly fisher.
Yeah, he's a legend. I use his fly line.
He basically said you could spend your entire lifetime studying fly fishing and die knowing nothing.
Yep.
Because
that's why I like it. You're always constantly learning. You know, I'm that serious.
Bugs like evolve and change into different bugs every year. What the hell are you guys talking about?
I mean, dude, this guy he carried a vice with him and would
just tie it on the spot
on the sideline, as he saw him.
I think I think expedition fly fishing should do that. I think they should have a vise on the drift boat, hide the flies, whatever.
I'm not. I am no wolf.
Do it like part entertainment for the like fishing slow, and then turn it into like a show.
Turn it into
like, this bug just look at this bug that just landed on me. Watch me tie this new fly to match this bug.
We're gonna turn it into a drinking fest. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a little fun. This is what's gonna happen in my boat. I am not a dry or die guy. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna have fun. I want people on my boat that want to learn, or just want to go out there and catch fish. But like, I don't want somebody out there because they just want to just land fish. Like, I want them to learn something too. I could teach you more than just what fly fishing is, how to read the water, where the fish kind of lives here and there. But like, that's what I want to teach guys. Like, I get it. I don't want to be that guy. Like, I have nothing wrong with spin fishing. I still spin fish, especially on saltwater. I just got back from Belize. I did a fly fishing trip down there, and I got the slam, which is the permit, bonefish, and tarpon all in one day. But like, cool. I don't have any qualms because I still whipped out that spin fishing rod to catch a barracuda. So I'm not I'm not that type of guy. So, but I wanted to teach you something on my boat. I just want you to come out here like, I'm going to take my spin rod and just catch fish. I want you to take more than that coming on my boat. You know what I mean?
I also think though, if you're one of those people that you're kind of on the fence with fly fishing, you want to get into it, but you don't know, it is very expensive and it's very complicated. Instead
and I give you
of buying
advice.
All this shit, and then you could maybe try it out with Joey X. Go on a fly trip. He has all the gear. You go. Maybe you end up coming off an addict, and you're at the store spending $3,000 on your own shit, or maybe you didn't like it. But it could be worth a shot just to try because it is an experience. And I'm one of the people that's guilty of it. I made fun of people my whole life. I always made fun of fly fishermen. I didn't like them. And the first time I ever saw a sunfish hit a dry fly, that was it. I never used a spinning rod again. I was just hooked. It's just a thing that if you catch that virus, you're done. It's over.
Yeah. So when I started fly fishing, it was in Jersey in Kenlock Wood Gorge, and this is what got me to continue. I mean, I bought like a cheap Cabela setup, which I think Cabela's make a great rod. I forget what the name was because I kind of
$90. Up. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's called Wind River. Cabela's Wind River.
And then the other one
makes one of those good starter kits too. Yeah, there's cheap ways to get into it.
Yeah, Fenwick. Fenwick makes one of the most top-rated fly rod there is. It's called AETOS, AETOS. It's very, very affordable, and it's one of the top-rated. Like, it is won a shootout a couple of times, and it's a good rod. You don't have to spend that much money on it. But as you progress, you kind of get different casts down, and that's where you grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with, like, I don't know if anybody's golfing out here, but if you buy a cheap pair of golf clubs, you go out there, you can hit the ball pretty decent. Now you get a better pair of golf clubs. Now you're swinging that, you're getting 10 more yards, 15 more yards. That's the kind of deal you're going to get with these fly rods.
But I use all the cheap stuff. So.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. You can go out there and have fun with the cheap stuff and fly fishing too. But once you get more involved and grow on these, you're like, oh, I need something that now my cast is a little bit different. I want to go with the faster action rod. So like that's where it goes in. But like you said, I do have all the equipment. It's not cheap stuff. I have some decent stuff on my boat. So if you wanted to learn, you could use my gear, and if you like it, and I also can give out recommendations on what to get if you want to spend this much amount of money or you want to spend this amount of money. But you don't have to go out there and buy the 5-star fucking rod out there. There's no point.
Okay, so what is the best way? Now, Expeditions Fly Fishing is a brand new company that you're basically just starting this season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What is the best way that if you want to book a trip or get information on your trips to contact you, phone number?
Yep. My phone number, I just got business cards. I put that out there, but you can actually catch me on my Facebook, which is Joey some XUM or Expedition Fishing. So it's Expedition like that. AXPEDITION_fishing. Yeah, on my Instagram, and you can send me a private message there. You can call me on my cell phone number. It's 908-421-3749. Yeah, just give me a holler and see if I got availability. I got this thing going on in May, so base booking up pretty fast, and that's a great one to go into is May. But the
just
free,
for anyone that is listening, basically May and June is the best months of the year for fly fishing. That's like the pinnacle of the season.
The hatches are really happening, correct? Yeah. So there you
go. If you did want to book a trip, especially a dry fly trip, specifically May and June would be your like best you would want to call for.
Yeah, it gets a little bit tougher during the later seasons, but yeah.
Joey,
well, Joe and I will take we'll take one of your not so good days, so we suffer a little bit more out there.
We'll take a wave trip in the beginning.
Hey, I'll be back up in April. If you guys want to come with me, and we can fish the cold water real quick.
I'll go. I'm in.
Oh, I'm down for anything. Everyone knows.
Joey, I'm not even kidding. Like now the interview's kind of over, we could just like talk fishing. Like I've been up there with my wife, and like I don't even fish sometimes. I just sit there and stare. Like it's just like it's another world. It's really like. And then you look at a hatch chart. Sometimes you look at the hatch chart for Montana and you say, wow, this looks really complicated. Look at the hatch chart for the beaver kill. Like it makes the Montana
it's pretty long.
Chart look easy almost.
Yeah. Montana's fun, man. Let me tell you something about Montana. I love Montana. I fish Idaho. I love Idaho. I fish Montana. But there's something about my heart with the Catskills that I like with these fish that just humbled me. Like both times I've been to Idaho, didn't get skunked. One day I actually hooked up, I believe, 118 fish on one float. Wow. And I landed about 98 of them. And awesome. In Montana, you're averaging fish from like 20 to 24 inches. You know,
that's all fish crazy, man.
Like, and then same thing with the Catskills. You know, like the Jersey, you got the stock fish that are like 12 to maybe 18, and then
you're 12 for a minimum stock. You're very generous. They throw them in at like 9 inches, dude. Yeah, sometimes 8.5.
Well, I'm talking about average, you know.
Dude, they throw in stocked fish that you can't even keep sometimes in a taken kill fisher like
that. I never got.
Yeah,
I never got that.
Oh yeah, I've seen them, and you're lucky to catch a bubba. You know, and I know you can get those at the Pequest. I know Pequest actually produces bigger fish out there, but yeah, you get that a lot more on the main stem of the Delaware. You know, you're getting those size 20 fish. You know.
Yeah, it really is.
It means something different up there. You're more in nature there. It's just I don't know. It's just a whole
like I
world.
said at the beginning of the episode, people don't realize how close that is to us. It's really not that far. I mean, you can easily go there for a day trip. Absolutely. And there's a lot of history there. After you get done with like your Joey X trip, you could go and there's fly fishing museums there. Yep. It's basically where American fly fishing was born in Livingston Manor, Roscoe.
Yep.
But we're not going to bug you all night, Joey. I hope that you have a date for us for real because we would really love to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys got to give me a shout, and then I can look at my schedule because I know something's happening. This late April, I'm doing a event for what they call Friends of the Upper Delaware River. I'm actually one of the guest guides that have been invited to do the 2-day event for what they call the One Bug. And it's an event where people are donating charity money to do a trip down the Catskill, the main stem or the west branch or the east branch, and they can only use one fly for the day. If you lose it, and I can't retrieve it, then you're out for the day. And you can only use one pattern, one fly for the whole day. And if you get snagged, it's up to them or me to go kind of retrieve it, and they can tie it back on. But if they lose it, they lose it, and they can't fish. Well, they can fish the rest of the day, but their catches wouldn't count for their points. So it's actually a cool event that happened in late April.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
That sounds nuts.
But yeah, definitely find a date for us because we want to come. And for anybody watching this episode, if you are interested in fly fishing, especially in the Catskills, West Branch, Delaware, and drift boat trip, Expedition Fly Fishing, Joey X, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, brother. And yeah, hope to fish with you soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to it. The last time we fished together, we had to quadruple tuna. Threat the shark that was hooking the tail.
Oh yeah, that was nuts. Oh, I was tired after that one.
No, but he was on the gambler too, though. He was on the gambler.
I was on the gambler.
Oh, the gambler. Oh, yeah. No, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, he was in the parking lot puking before he even got on the boat. Are you coming back to the gambler this year?
Dude, I was told it was sold out.
We'll get you a ticket. Don't worry.
You want to go? We'll get you on.
Yeah,
it's our fucking trip. You want to go? We get you on. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
All right, Joey. Thank you so much, and have a good night. And call Expeditions Fly Fishing, everyone.
I appreciate it, man.
Later, man.
Take care, Joe.
Later.
Yeah, so NJFishing.com, 27 years as the #1 resource in freshwater and saltwater fishing in New Jersey. Also, if you're looking for that next charter or party boat trip, they are all listed on the wall, NJF. Also, the forum, you could get onto the forum for free. They're separated freshwater and saltwater. All you have to do is email Jerry Zagorski and tell him your username and password, and you're in. You log in. It gives you the entire backlog, too, to the forum. So you could look at years and years of just posts and posts long before all this Facebook shit even started. NJFishing.com. Check it out today. So that actually got me really revved up because I haven't been trout fishing in a while. And the last few times I've gone trout fishing, I've used my spinning rod just to piss the internet off. But I'm going to use my fly rod again this year.
Come on. You got to admit then
What?
I was going to say, in a lot of situations in New Jersey waters, a lot of times you're better off with an ultralight spin. Come on. That's why you're using it.
I would say the biggest issue that I have is when it comes to actually landing the fish. If you land a big fish, I don't know if it's just me or it's everyone, but I have a much easier time landing big fish on the spinning rod. I've lost a lot of big fish on fly rod, which makes me sometimes, when I get an opportunity at big fish, I'm now kind of nervous to take it.
Well, it's because, I mean, it's got to be because in these smaller waters, a lot, like we're catching big trout in very small, skinny waters here in New Jersey, right? A lot of the times, I mean, they're going to run you into something, especially on a fly rod.
That one you saw, you were standing next to me. That was the same setup I would use in New York for like 30-pound salmon and 15-pound steelhead all day.
But you've got more room.
It gets
got more room to let the fish.
Oh, no, I understand. But like, if I would have had my spinning rod that day, that fish would have been landed. Like, it busted me off, I think. It just gives you a better shot at landing big fish, I think. And then casting, if there's bad wind and shit, fly rod's pain in the ass to cast. A fly fisherman, when I went fishing with John Gabagrani, and he's using his BFS bait caster, I'm using the fly rod, I noticed that I spent almost 3 times the amount of time tangled in trees. It's harder to flip a fly rod around. It's harder to fit it in places. The rig gets it. There's just, it's actually It's literally been written in fly fishing books that when you go fly fishing, one of your biggest goals is to spend the least amount of time tangled as possible, because you could waste a lot of your fly fishing day untangling shit, and you're losing a lot of fishing time that the spin guys aren't. They're not losing that time, especially when you're fishing a double nymph with a dropper. I mean, once that gets tangled, it takes 20 minutes to redo it. It just sucks.
Now you just opened yourself up to ridicule from the high horse fly guys that don't ever get tangled or catch a tree.
If you told me that I could catch 115-inch trout on a spinning rod, or I could catch 10 9-inch trout on the fly rod, I would take the 10 fish on the fly rod. It's just, and you'll ask me what's the logical answer behind that, and I don't have one. I don't know what the answer is. There's just something with it.
Well, and look, I mean, our opinions are different in this, right? I like fly fishing. I like to do it sometimes. It's a novelty to me. Like it. Yeah, I mean, look, but it's intimidating, right? So for someone like me that has fly fished before, multiple times, I can do it. I don't know what's hatching, and I don't really have any desire to study a book about bugs because I'm going to go fly fishing in the Catskills. If I'm going fishing in the Catskills, I'm either going with someone who does like to study the hatches and whatnot, or I'm paying a guide. I don't have time to study bugs in a book to go enjoy fly fishing. And I think that's the big draw to calling someone like expedition fly fishing is a lot of people, and they might not even know they like fly fishing because it's intimidating. They may have never tried it, or they may have tried it once on their own and failed miserably. But I'm telling you, this is a message for all those people. It's fun. Like if you like fishing, you're gonna like fly fishing, but it's a more involved type of fishing in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is knowing what's hatching, right? I don't want to study to see what's hatching. I'm not interested in bugs. I'm interested in catching fish. I'm somewhat interested in fly fishing, right? So I want to go up there. I want to fly fish. I want to learn how to fly fish. I don't need to learn what bugs are hatching. I want to go with someone who knows that already and can, fine tune my fly fishing technique and just have fun and catch some fish fly fishing. That's the big draw here. All right. Not everyone wants to be a master fly fisherman, do nothing but fly fish and study all the hatches and all this stuff and tie their own flies and all that.
No, there's a middle ground. That kind of steers you right back into like that bass fishing tunnel vision where it's just you start to become way too one-dimensional for no reason.
Right, and that's kind of my point.
There's things that a spinning rod can do that a fly rod can't do, and there's things that a fly rod can do
right,
that the other one can't do. And if I got both of them in my car, I got both of them in my car, and your opinion of saying, oh, you can't use that one right now because then you're not really officially one of us. Well, no one cares. I have both of them there, whichever one working better. I'm going to probably use that one because I'm just not an idiot. Just use the better one. No?
I mean, you're preaching to the choir if you're telling me, but
you do what you want.
And you know what?
Hey, how about this?
Well, right.
Everyone do anything they want, and I won't bother. You could fly fish, spin fish. You could fish for sunnies. You could fish for tarpon. Do anything you want. No one will bother you. I don't know what
that is. That's the bottom line, right? And you can close the show with this. It goes for anything. If all you want to do is fly fish and you're obsessed with it and that's the only thing you want to do, that is totally fine. You'll never hear me make fun of you. When you'll hear me make fun of you is when you try to bash other people for doing something that you don't do. Oh, you're catching trout with a spinning rod. Oh, you were by yourself, so you put the trout on the ground for 5 seconds to take a picture. It's dead. No, it's not dead. It's not fucking dead. They throw the trout in off bridges, for Christ's sake. It's not dead.
If
you use common sense and logic to release the fish, it's gonna live most of the time. You're fishing. If this isn't PETA, you're fishing. You hook the fish in the face. You made it fight for its life to get it to you. If you want to take a picture with it, you ain't going to kill it. And
there's some strange obsession with this handicapping yourself and then giving yourself an extra chest bump. And it isn't just, I mean, the trout guys are horrible with it, but it goes through everything. Even with hunting, they do it with the crossbow. Oh, you used a crossbow, you didn't use a regular bow. Like, listen, there's a picture of me with the deer. It makes no difference if I used a legal weapon. That's what I used. A bass fish, he used live scope. This guy didn't use live scope. I mean, I caught that on BFS. I caught it on it. It doesn't matter. Like, you do what you want. You can't say it any more than that.
Do what you want and let someone else do what they want, as long as it's within, the logical common sense laws that we have, whatever. I mean, that's it.
If I like fly fishing for sunnies and that's all I do, that's no problem. But once I start going on the internet and telling everyone that doesn't fish for fly fish for sunnies that they're idiots, then it becomes pointless and you're just a troll, and you've ruined everyone else's time. It's like preaching anything else. We're sick of hearing it too. Like, it's getting annoying. It's the same shit with the striper guys and the trout guys over and over again. Like, just go fishing and shut up.
Yeah, that's it. End the show with that. Suffer for the fish.
Suffer for the fish. That's it.